If all you want at 3 p.m. every day is to take a nap, this episode is for you. If you feel like no matter what you do, you are just exhausted all the time and it's getting in the way of you being the friend or the partner or the parent that you want to be, this episode is for you. We all deserve to feel vibrant and energized enough to make the most of our lives. Today, we're talking about energy, and specifically, we're going to be getting into hacks, like easy science-backed things that you can do to feel more energy in the moment. These are not going to be things that you have heard before. They're not going to be things that take ages to work, like overhaul your entire diet or take all these supplements, and maybe in a few months, you will feel more energetic. No. These are basically the science-backed, good-for-you version of drinking an energy drink. But instead of feeling all like jittery and gross, you are just going to feel like the best version of yourself. Welcome to the Liz Moody podcast, where we share science-backed tools and tips to empower you to live your best life. But we do it in a way that's fun, that makes space for emotions and vulnerability and the realities of our actual busy lives. I am your host, Liz Moody, and I'm a longtime journalist and best-selling author. I'm going to count down these little tips, these little hacks from 5. Number 1 is the one that I do without fail every single day, and it's made a huge, huge difference in my personal energy levels, so make sure that you stick around for that. But let's just jump right in with number 5, take advantage of your Ultradian rhythm. I've gotten a lot of questions from you guys recently about Ultradian rhythms, like are they real, are they BS that's just made up to get clicks on social media? I get it sounds kind of fake, but the answer is yes, they are very real, and once you know about them, you can take advantage of them in a way that will make you get more done and have way more energy. The Ultradian rhythm was first brought into the world by a sleep researcher who discovered something called the basic rest activity cycle, which is a 90-minute cycle that governs our sleep stages that we go through all night long. This is really interesting unto itself, but then he discovered something else that is wild. These rhythms continue all throughout the day while we are awake. And if we work with those rhythms instead of against them, we're going to feel way better because we're not constantly fighting against what our brains and bodies want to be doing at any given moment. The first stage of the cycle lasts about 90 minutes, and it's really great for peak focus and high alertness. Your brain is pumping you up with acetylcholine and dopamine, which are going to make you feel motivated and energized. This is when you want to do your harder cognitive tasks. You want to do your problem solving. You want to do your deep work. When you are in this stage, you feel deeply concentrated. You're able to easily tackle complex tasks, and you can absorb new information effectively. A really good way to know that you're in this phase is if it's easier for you to focus and harder for things to distract you. That's a really good sign that you're in the first stage of your Ultradian cycle. And if you can plan to do your deep work during this phase, research shows that you're going to get more done and you're going to feel more energized. After that 90-minute period, your brain essentially dips and it enters a recovery stage. In this phase, you're going to want to procrastinate. You're going to feel a strong resistance to doing your work. You might even feel sort of like you're hangry, like you're a little bit grumpy, a little bit annoyed by things that an hour ago would not have bothered you at all. During this time, you might feel frustrated with yourself for feeling depleted, but your brain literally is just wired to need that rest. That is not something being wrong with you. That is the way that our brains are built. If you skip your rest period, your brain will eventually push itself back into a peak period. But, and this is really fascinating, research shows that if we essentially force ourselves to push through it, our higher level of functioning will not be nearly as high as it was before. You'll be able to keep trudging along, but your actual outputs, if you skip the rest phase, are going to be way, way less. So how do we hack this? What do we actually do with this information? Annoyingly, we cannot just set a timer and work for 90 minutes and then take a break because we might not be in that peak phase when we start our timer, or we might have 20 minutes left of it. But basically, if you want to do the math, the first peak cycle usually starts an hour and a half to 2 hours after you wake up. That first bit of morning, your brain is naturally going to be quite groggy, so you do not want to open your eyes and start going full on. Ideally, you want to take your circ walk. You want to gently move your body. You want to clear some of that sleep inertia and not pressure yourself into any hard work or deep thoughts. Then the dips are 10 to 30 minutes long. So the easiest energy hack here is to schedule one deep work session that starts about 90 minutes after you wake up. you should naturally feel some sort of like sense of focus coming on, some increased motivation around that time. So lean into that, set a 90-minute timer, and if you can, at all protect that time and really use it to chug through some deep work, some work that actually moves the needle. That is probably one of the best ways to utilize all of this information around ultradian rhythms. A lot of us go to work and we go straight to our emails. I know that I am certainly very guilty of this, which means that we're using the most productive part of our ultradian rhythm to do work that does not require a ton of thinking. And then we're trying to do harder work during our dips later. So of course we feel exhausted. You can also do the math throughout the day, but it's honestly trickier. I'm not great at math, and I personally think too annoying to be worth it. So I work with this hack by one, just really trying to block off that 90-minute chunk in the morning to move the needle so that I'm being productive, not just busy at my job. So I'm doing the things that really matter. This is not always gonna happen, and that's okay. Sometimes we have meetings or other commitments. That's fine. If you can even do a deep work period once a week during this time, that is going to put you ahead of the pack. Also, you don't have to use this time for work stuff. You can use it for something that you're passionate about. But in general, I just try to be aware of it, of that peak period, and I try to hit that morning deep work session whenever I possibly can. And then two, I just try to heighten my awareness of these rhythms going on throughout the day. If I'm feeling naturally a little bit tired, I'm like, maybe I'm in my rest period, and I take a 30-minute break and I see if I naturally feel more motivated later. And on the flip side, if I naturally feel motivated, I'm like, okay, this is likely my peak, and I try to limit distractions during it. If you want to take it to the next level, you can also start noting, like keep a little note on your phone of when your ultradian peaks and dips are, like, oh, at 3 p.m. every day, I'm exhausted, and then schedule around that. Again, as much as you can. We are not aiming for perfection here. But schedule yourself a very real 30-minute break at 3 p.m. If you always notice that you're dipping then, you will ultimately feel better and you will get way more done in the long run than if you just powered through. Which is the perfect segue to number 4, take real micro recovery breaks. We, and I very much mean me here, are terrible at using breaks to actually recover, to rest and restore ourselves. We, and again, I mean me here, scroll on Instagram or TikTok or the news. And you probably don't need me to say this to you because you probably feel it intuitively in the moment, but none of these things actually restore our energy or our attention. We are actually flooding our brain with visual stimuli, with thoughts and ideas and opinions, which is activating the very neurocircuitry that we want to let rest. Let me say that again because it's important. When we say we are tired and we just want to flop and scroll, we are essentially never letting our brains actually rest. We are keeping ourselves in perpetual states of different types of stimulation. It is no wonder that we literally always feel exhausted. So, what is actually restful? There are a few interesting findings from the research. One is really, really simple. Just look far away. You might have heard of this for reducing eye strain and headaches, but looking off into the distance actually activates the default mode network of neurons in our brains that's going to facilitate recovery. This is another vote against screens. I'm sorry, but when we're on our screens, we're looking up close all day. We're just essentially moving from looking up close at our computer screen to looking up close on our phone screen when we're quote unquote resting. Walking outside, a really great way to actually recover. First of all, you're looking far away naturally, so you're going to get that brain reset that we just talked about. Second, you are outside, which research shows is incredible for our energy. Literally, if you feel exhausted right now and you're listening to this, just go outside. If you can't walk, sit. You will feel a state change. But if you can walk, that movement is going to get your blood moving, and that's going to replenish your energy. Breathing exercises are a great way to actually restore yourself during your breaks. When we are stressed or we're like in this really focused state, our breathing can become shallow, which activates our sympathetic nervous system and it floods our bodies with cortisol. The more this happens, the more energy depleted we are gonna feel. But we can override this fight or flight response by intentionally stimulating our parasympathetic nervous system. And the single best way to do that is breath work. You can do box breathing, which is just in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. You can do the cyclic sigh, which is just 2 quick inhales and 1 long exhale. So it's like, but you also just don't need to get fancy about this at all. You just want to breathe in through your nose and then exhale as long as you can through your mouth. The thing that's going to activate that parasympathetic nervous system is having a longer exhale than an inhale. So the easiest version is just in through your nose and then longer out through your mouth. And look, I know this is the kind of thing that we all listen to on podcasts and we're like, oh yeah, breathing exercises sounds good. And then we never do it. And I get it because that was me for a very, very long time. But here, I will make you a deal. Even if you scroll for literally the rest of your break, just kick it off with 2 minutes of breathing exercises. 2 minutes of making your exhale longer than your inhale. If you do literally nothing but that, you are gonna change the way that your body is releasing hormones. You're gonna change the way that your brain is working, and you're gonna feel calmer right now, and you're gonna feel more energized in the long run. Can you commit to that? I wanna be like one of those people in the workout classes or like a cheerleader where I'm like, I can't hear you. No, I trust you. It's 2 minutes. You've got this. And then if you want to be a superstar, if you want to like nail your rest period, if you're one of those kids who needed the gold star all the time, I am raising my hand. Or if you're coming off a night where you slept really shitty, this is hands down what the science shows is the best tool to quickly replenish our energy. Research shows this technique actually gives you the feeling of gaining an hour of sleep in just 20 minutes, and you're not going to have that post-nap groggy feeling. It's called non-sleep deep rest, or NSDR, or you might hear people refer to it as yoga nidra. Basically, it feels like a body scan. You systematically relax different parts of your body. And when you do this, your brain enters this state of deep physiological relaxation associated with alpha and theta brainwaves, which are crucial for relaxation and restoration. Practicing non-sleep deep rest has been shown in PET scan studies to cause a measurable increase in endogenous dopamine release in our brains, which is going to give you a powerful, natural cognitive reset and a huge boost in mental energy and drive. There are tons of guided NSDR practices on YouTube and Spotify. Just search Yoga Nidra or NSDR and experiment with a few until you find one that you like. Okay, moving on to number 3. Close your loops. Today, more than ever, we have outstanding emails, we have texts we haven't answered, we have laundry we haven't folded, we have packages that we have not returned. This all adds up. It takes up cognitive space and it zaps us of our energy. Having a million open loops is one of the top reasons so many of us feel depleted all of the time. When we complete a task, we close the loop in our brains that's keeping track of the important aspects of that task that we need to remember in order to complete it successfully. This was discovered by a psychologist named Bluma Zygarnik, who found that waiters remembered complex details of orders up until the bill was paid. After the bill was paid, the memory rapidly faded away. Other studies confirm that our memory is designed to store uncompleted tasks much more than completed ones, which makes sense because that is literally how we get things done. Remembering all of these open loops creates a state of heightened mental tension that acts like a mental placeholder, keeping whatever task is at play active in our working memory. But if we have dozens of unfinished tasks just piling up, we are just piling on that tension. We are upping our cognitive load, and we're leading to this huge state of mental exhaustion. And we're also just getting less done as we switch between all of these unfinished tasks. Studies show that task switching leads to a 40% loss of overall productivity, 40%, and a significant increase in mental fatigue and error rates. And that is before we account for the general fatigue that's caused by all of these open loops. So first of all, just be aware of this. As much as possible, when you start a task, finish it. When you start folding laundry, finish folding laundry. Don't get up from an email until you hit that send button. Turn off notifications on your phone and your computer if you can, because getting a little ping or ding in the middle of doing something often is what causes us to leave loops open. I like to designate specific times throughout the day to check my email and my Slack. Then I don't feel as anxious about notifications, like missing the notifications popping up, because I know I already have a plan to tackle it. This is actually an example of what's called implementation intentions, which studies show are one of the best ways to actually get things done. These are basically just if-then plans that reassure your brain that the task is being handled, which lets it close the loop. So it's like, if I get home, then I will immediately put the clothes in the laundry. If I'm prepping dinner, then I'll take my supplements. If I'm on a walk, I will respond to my unanswered texts. Just having a plan that's tied to something that you already do signals your brain like, okay, we can relax. We don't have to keep this open. We know this is going to happen. The other thing that I have to shout out here is the life admin day. I love it so much. This is a tip in my book, which is just a day or an afternoon that you set aside once a week or every other week to churn through all of your open loops and get back your energy and your cognitive space. You'll actually get an immediate closed loop effect by just making a plan for one of these days, like we just talked about. And then when you have the day, you're going to get more benefits from all of the loops that you're going to close, all of the appointments that you're going to make, all of the packages that you're going to return. I also just read an article about doing life admin parties, which I think is genius. Basically getting together with friends to churn through all of those open loops. It makes it fun. It holds us accountable. It allows us to make recurring plans with our friends, which creates deeper friendships. It's something that I'm a huge, huge proponent of. But however you do it, close those loops because they are draining the life out of you. Okay, number 2, little hack to get more energy. Drink peppermint tea. This one is a little bit of a twofer. Research shows that the smell of peppermint instantly makes us feel more energized. The menthol content activates a nerve in our brain linked to memory, cognitive performance, and alertness. And then other studies show that up to 75% of us are dehydrated at any given time. And dehydration is one of the fastest ways to feel exhausted. So by drinking peppermint tea, you are hydrating yourself. And you're getting that extra effect from the menthol, both of which are going to make you instantly feel more awake. Before we get to number 1, I do have to briefly shout out sleep. I'm not going to cheat and put it on the list because like we all know we should sleep more. And obviously, if we slept more, if we slept better, that will give us more energy. But I do have to briefly mention it because even though we know that sleep is important, tons of us are constantly doing things that mess with our sleep. We are eating late at night. We are scrolling before bed. We're keeping our room too hot or too bright. Like those little lights all around your room, those are keeping your brain awake at night. So I am going to briefly say, if you are tired, if energy is something that you struggle with, which I assume if you've made it to this point in the episode, that is true, take a week and really focus on your sleep. Don't do the things that you already know make your sleep worse. Try out some of the things that you know make your sleep better. Like try putting your phone, in a different room at 7 or 8 p.m. Try reading a book at night. Try dimming the lights and just see what happens, which is actually a really nice segue to number 1, my top hack to increase your energy levels instantly. Expose yourself to light. You've all probably heard me talk about my circ walks a million times, which is just a walk outside for 15 minutes as close to when the sun rises and you wake up as possible. That light in your eyes sets your circadian rhythm for the day, which is going to help you sleep better at night, which, like we just talked about, will give you more energy. But it's also just straight up gonna boost your energy, like in the moment without the sleep component of it all. It's going to help eliminate things that deplete your energy. Like if you have gut issues, a circ walk will help with that. It helps with your hormones. 99% of the cells in our body run on a circadian clock. And that light in your eyes in the morning essentially tells that clock what time it is so that it can function optimally. So first step here, get your circ walk in. It's as close to when you wake up and the sun comes up as possible. So if you get up and the sun comes up later, take a walk when the sun is up, or if you get up and the sun is already up, which is me because I get up later, just get outside as quickly as you can in the morning. And sunlight, people ask me this all the time. Sunlight is reaching your eyes, whether it's raining, whether it's foggy or whatever. If it is daytime outside, if the sun is up in the sky, no matter what the weather is, I promise you that sunlight is reaching your eyes and it's setting your circadian clock. If you absolutely cannot get outside, a Lux therapy lamp, one of those light boxes that you sit in front of, is the next best thing. They do work. But also, get light exposure throughout the day. One of my podcast guests said that the difference between the effect of almost any outside light, even on a cloudy day, and almost any inside light, even if we have windows, is incredibly profound. We are spending most of our days in the circadian equivalent of dark caves, which confuses our brains and it makes us feel tired all the time. The simplest thing to remember is, to our brains, light equals awake. Use this when you want to sleep, so intentionally dim the lights when you're winding down. Don't have a bright bathroom light, which will wake you up during your middle of the night pees. And then when you want to be awake, outside light is number one, but lights around the house or the office all help. And we really, really underestimate how much of our days we are spending in much, much darker environments than our brains are used to. When you are tired, hit your brain with a dose of light. Research shows that just 2 to 10 minutes of outdoor light, even in the winter, even in the shade, even on a rainy day, is enough to give you a noticeable energy lift. If you cannot go outside, turn on bright overhead lights, open your blinds, or just step into the brightest spot in your house, in your office that you can find. Light equals energy. It is the most potent natural energy supplement available, and we can all stand to avail ourselves to it far more often. If you are tired of feeling tired, I want you to know that it is fixable. You just need to stop fighting your biology and start using it. You've got natural 90-minute waves of focus that you can take advantage of, and you can take real micro recovery breaks that reset your brain instead of stimulating it with more and different things. You can close all of those open loops that are taking up insane amounts of mental space and energy. You can sip peppermint tea for a combination of hydration and menthol that's essentially like a natural energy drink. And you can use light, which is the world's best free energy supplement, to flip on your brain's awake switch. These can all help with your energy literally today. You deserve to have the energy to enjoy your life, to enjoy your work and your friends and your hobbies. You deserve to not feel like you are struggling to make it through each day. And these tools will help you get there starting right now. I would love to hear one of these hacks that you're down to commit to. So share it in the comments so that I can cheer you on. And please send this episode to your partner, your friends, your family, because pretty much everybody that I know feels low energy these days. And I want all of us to have the information that we need to feel better. Can you also do me a really quick favor? Can you take 1 second and hit that subscribe or follow button? We have new episodes on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube every Monday and Wednesday. Mondays are short solos with tips and stories from me, like this episode. And then Wednesdays are longer episodes where I sit down with one of the world's leading experts to dive deep into a subject. I know, because I can see the data on the back end, that 50% of you listening right now are not following. And it is the single best way to both support the podcast and make sure that you never miss out on an episode that could change your life. You can find all of my favorite partner codes, from the skincare that I swear by to the creatine and fish oil that I take every single day, at lizmoody.com/codes. Supporting our brand partners keeps our show completely free for you, and it allows you to save money on products that I've vetted that I truly believe in. All right, I love you guys, and I will see you on the next episode of the Liz Moody Podcast. Oh, just one more thing. It's the legal language. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, a psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional.